Hello and welcome to our new episode of LinkedIn Live with Natalia Wiedemeyer and Mandar Ajikar. And today we are talking about team empowerment. Okay, so let us quickly introduce ourselves. My name is Natalia and I'm the founder of GraviTeams, and GraviTeams stands for Gravity in Organizational Teams. So it stands for this invisible force that keeps the teams together. And Mandar is a business excellence coach, mentor, and professional assessor. And he has been here in the Middle East for the past 17 years, and he worked with many different organizations and associations on business excellence, on performance, on making organizations work better together and achieve true excellence. And obviously no excellence can be achieved on your own. There is always a team. That's why we are talking about teams together, and not just teams, but empowered teams. Teams that can do more, teams that can go the extra mile. Welcome everyone. Welcome Mandar. Always a great pleasure to host the show.
Same here, Natalia. Same here.
So let us start. What is empowerment? What is the definition of empowerment? How do we see empowerment? And if we, if you check a dictionary, the dictionary says it's an act of giving official authority to someone to do something, like to give a legal power, to empower, right? But this definition does not really suit us in the way teams work and the way people work, right? So I also consulted what's written there in Wikipedia, and I really like the definition because it says it gives the autonomy and self-determination to people and communities, teams, and it enables them to represent their interests, take the responsibility, and act with own authority. So it's the self-empowerment and the ability and authority to act with this self-empowerment. So, Mandar, what do you think? What is empowerment? What is empowerment in the context of teams?
Thanks a lot, Natalia, for having me on this discussion. It's always a pleasure to interact with you. And the last session we had, we got very favorable responses. Thanks for again sharing a very clinical, I would say, definition of empowerment. Well, for me, I would say I believe leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. So empowerment is a very important thing. And if my take on empowerment would be, it has four main components. The first one is to give employees a voice within the organization, provide opportunities for employees to grow, of course, within the organization, and recognize employees to increase their engagement and the confidence. And the most important thing is providing employees with tools, trainings, and authority with which they can excel within the organization. That's my take on the team empowerment.
That's great. That's really, really great points to be addressed. And we're having some people in our LinkedIn live show with us. So welcome, Anjum, welcome, Tanaya. And we're looking forward to your input. So what do you think about team empowerment? How do you see team empowerment, and what's your experience with working with regular teams versus the empowered teams, and what would be the difference, right? So when we are talking about empowered teams, it's obviously, like as Mandar has said, it's giving everyone a voice. So it's not, the team leader or the organizational head goes around and distributes responsibilities, because empowerment can only come from within, and this should come with the voice of the people. And empowered employees are the ones who are seeking responsibility and who are taking responsibility and who can voice their ideas to make the group decisions, right? And you cannot really force empowerment. You cannot really force a team to be working together. So have to create it, so it becomes part of the culture even. So, and some other things, you know, like besides the voice, the opportunities, the willingness to recognize the contribution, to encourage the contributions. The team, always what I'm saying, you know, like the gravity, team gravity. So the gravity, that the center of gravity within the teams is the common vision, what the team wants to achieve together. And this common vision has to be so much part of the team that people personally and as a group collectively identify with it, right? Then it has to have a certain goal. And this goal needs to be common, and it needs to be challenging, right? So people really are working towards, so people really unite around this goal and see for whatever contribution they can make. Obviously, very important to communicate well, also from the leader and from the team members. So the goal of leadership in this team empowerment becomes more the facilitator, right? To keep people engaged and keep people empowered. And obviously it's authenticity. I mean, you can, you know, if you are trying, team empowerment is not a team building exercise. Team empowerment goes deeper, and it only can be achieved with authenticity from each participant, you know, like, and being true to yourself and being true to the organizational value. All right. So why is team empowerment important? Is it even, I mean, if we are coming to work and we are talking about team empowerment in the organizational or in business context, so why is it important, right? Why would, you know, like we go there and we get our salary and we get our paycheck and that's why we do that. So why is that so important? And I was looking, when I was preparing for this show, I was looking at some statistics, and I want to share something with you. Let me just share my screen. How do I share my screen? There you go. Share screen. Okay, so let us see. Does it work? Share. There you go. Share with audio. Window.
I cannot still see it.
Yes, so I am working on that. Where is it? Entire screen. I share entire screen. No, I cannot share entire screen.
Should I display it? Should I show it, the picture? Will it help?
No. Share the screen. Share the screen. Share the screen. Share the screen. All right. So now I hope you can see my screen. And we are seeing that team empowerment is has the influence on team engagement, on how people work together, right? And we know that in modern organizations, we rarely just go there to perform our tasks. So we expect people to bring their creativity, to bring their imagination, to do their best, you know, like, and whatever you do, you cannot force people to be excellent. You cannot force people to be brilliant, right? So you only can encourage that. And that's what statistics says. And I found it on LinkedIn in one of the articles that a study was performed that engaged, empowered employees bring more engagement to work, right? And engagement is what drives the results. It's what drives the work. It's what drives the progress. That's what we all strive for, because disengaged employees don't really go the extra mile. Okay, so what do you think, Mandar, on this?
Yeah, correct. I think
why empowerment is such an important topic.
Definitely, it's a very important and one of the raging topics in terms of today's management. in terms of the times we are in now, especially the pandemic. I would also, in fact, I fully agree with you, Natalia, and also I would like to, there is a question which has come on, there is a suggestion which has come from a friend, Om Prakash Yadav. He said it is hypothetical to say that employees will be empowered by giving training and other things. Employers have no time for empowering the employee, and there is a target which we have to complete. Correct. I fully agree with your statement, and which is why I personally feel that there are 5 important steps to any team empowerment, which all the management of all the organizations should have a clear focus on. I call it the ASAT but if you break it down, the first one is appreciation. So showing appreciation for people's efforts and accomplishments, that is the first one. The second one is, of course, supporting the team while they're experimenting and learning. This is the second important step which is required for team empowerment. The third one is also important, authority, to recognize the appropriate authority for tasks and projects, ensuring that people have the necessary skills, expertise, and knowledge in order to realize their organizational objectives. Fourth important aspect would be trust, to demonstrate trust, letting people deliver as they see best of their abilities. And the last one is the most important one for me, which is the feedback. To demonstrate, I think this is the most important step, which is to ask feedback, focusing on the aspects the people could do more of or could develop rather than focusing on the negativity. This is what I feel. So feedback, as per me, is one of the most important things which is required in team empowerment. What do you feel, Natalia? This is my
yes, absolutely agree that team empowerment and empowered team is not any of the state. It's rather a process, right? So we constantly work on that. We constantly encourage it. We constantly see whether it works, and we see how the team works together, right? And I absolutely agree on appreciation. You know that about over 70% of people who quit their jobs, they quit because they don't feel appreciated. And we might think that appreciation is cannot be that important, you know, like if you have done your job, you probably also already feel done your contribution, but actually the act of expressing appreciation, it empowers people from within, and it helps them to do their work even better and to engage with their work more. So appreciation is such an important thing, and it's so easy to do. There are also some things. We were talking about authenticity at the beginning. So appreciation as well as feedback have to be authentic and to the point, you know, like, so within the situation. If you're telling your employee or part of your team that appreciation, you know, like I really appreciate what your job, or I really appreciate you as an employee, it's very good. It gives, you know, like certain encouragement. But if you're saying, hey, this one feature that you just implemented, it just brought our application, you know, like miles ahead, or this comment or this idea that you gave in this particular meeting, you know, like it just turned the entire dynamic around. This is very specific, very to the point, and very, you know, like timely comments. They just have the potential to turn the entire dynamics around. Another thing that I want to touch is that the team empowerment is part of the culture, right? So it's not any of the actions. It's not the team building exercise. It's not a tool. It's not it's not a part of training, but it's the culture. It's how team works with each other. It's how they perceive each other and how they collaborate with each other. And this is, you know, like if people, or if leaders, or if organizational culture is not working on helping the employees feel cohesive in their team, but only giving the trainings, only changing the policies. That's why many of the trainings fail. I mean, you can train people, but you cannot force excellence, and you cannot force brilliance, and you cannot force creativity. So creativity blooms only if people feel comfortably, safely in their environment. But I think there is also more to
Natalia, I think your picture is stuck. Have you lost connection? Natalia? Yeah, Natalia? Hi, Bilal. I think Natalia has got stuck. She'll come back soon. I'll just probably call her. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Welcome back.
Am I back?
Mr.
Am I
Murphy
back?
at work. Yeah, yeah, you're back. You're back. I was just calling you.
Otherwise, I will switch to, like, if the glitch happens again, you just go on, maybe
Yeah,
take a question or so. We are having some questions here, and Bilal is with us, so great to have
Correct.
you here, Bilal. My connection seems to have improved. If we struggle again, I will switch to my mobile phone, so we just continue. All right, so where did we stop? We stopped. I would like to touch, like to give my aspect on what I see the empowered team is. What is the secret of the empowered team? So an empowered team is someone that knows, like, united by this, like common purpose, and who knows what is the goal, what is the immediate goal, what is the goal for the next, like 3 months, 6 months, up to 1 year. We don't want to go any further because the world is just changing so fast. So stay focused on the next step, but have the big picture in mind. And working cohesively together, like if everyone knows their contribution, it's a great thing. But if the team, as a collectively, is not empowered, then everyone will be doing their contribution, and the sum is not going to be more than the whole is not going to be more than the sum of the parts. And it's like a little bit, like having a family dinner with your teenagers, that they will do their part, they will sit at the table, they will, like eat and adhere to the rules. But once the dinner is done, they will get up and go into the room, not even cleaning the dishes from the table. So this is like in the team, like if everyone knows their stakes, but no one is taking care of the cohesiveness, then there are certain things that just fall under the table. There are certain things that people as teenagers do not, the German saying, they don't look beyond their plate. So they're not doing anything. So this is something that, again, you can encourage and you can make it part of your culture. And this is very important. But another thing that I want to talk, do you want to add anything, Mandar?
Yeah, I just wanted to say you're right. It has to be like in the system, it's in the culture. In fact, team empowerment, I would say, would have to be in each of the stages in the organization. Like you have in organization, you have planning, you have organizing, you have directing, staffing, coordinating, reporting, budgeting. FOTSCOP, as it is called. It has to be done at each and every stage. If it is not done at each and every stage, if you miss the stage, then probably you will have a lower level of accountability or responsibility, and it will never come to be in terms of culture. Being a team empowerment is just not acronym. It's basically, it has to be like the blood group of each organization. Only then you can see you can see success derived out of this team empowerment.
Exactly. Exactly. So I also believe that, well, I don't believe, it's my experience, like with working with teams, that even if you are having this recipe, if you are having these, like contribution, like giving everyone a voice, empowering them, giving them skills, like people can only perform their best if they're giving the skills, if the conditions are matched, if they're having the authority. Quite often we give people the skills, we give them the task, but they don't give them the authority to perform. They don't feel empowered. And this is, like the original definition. You give people the authority to do something. You don't just say, okay, this is, like your decision and you do it, but actually the tools and the context, the resources. So I only can have my authority and I only can be responsible if I can actually take a decision, if I can actually influence people, like around myself. This is this authority that goes beyond the, allocation of tasks.
I remember, Natalia, when we were discussing about team empowerment, you had mentioned about a nice slogan. If a person says that I missed the deadline and it's all on me, that means he has understood the meaning of the word empowerment, and he's really empowered, and he understands, he has aligned his focus towards his objective towards the organization objective, and ultimately everyone wins. So Natalia, since we have spoken,
let me add, in the team, it's obviously, that's what you are saying, Mandar, is very true. I know my responsibilities. I know how I can contribute to us achieving this goal, which is amazing, so a person takes this commitment and this responsibility, but which is more, and that's what creates a team as opposed to a group of people working together. It's our challenge. We are together in this, and we are only together can make it happen.
Correct. Much good.
So this is something. And well, a part of all these, like ingredients, as every, every team is different. So you cannot have a recipe that you get, like 3 spoons of giving a voice, 2 spoons of making a training work, and again, putting a team together in the same office or creating a virtual space for them, and it's going to work. So each team is different. And now I would like to go into the differences in teams and how that would impact team dynamic, right? So we obviously we are talking about business organizations, and many organizations, especially, like in the past decades, organizations were structured as pyramids. Okay, so there was a leader on the top, and then there were like many people on the lower level, and the authority was delivered at the top and cascaded downwards. And it worked. It still works in many organizations. Like many of governmental organizations are organized like that. I mean, you cannot do governmental policy in, like distributed teams, because it has to be really cohesive. So, and this can work, and this works the best if you have, like this empowered leader at the top who empowers the team, right? Not only gives the directives, but actually empowers. But what we are seeing more and more in the modern working environment, that organizational structures, they flatten, right? So you have more teams under one directive, and these teams have more authority, and that's when this team empowerment comes into play. So teams that are empowered, that are cohesive, that know what their contribution is, they can work better. And this, like the goal, more often than not, it is given. It is given from the outside or from the conditions. Like if you are having a project team to deliver a new, sort of yogurt, or a new different type of pizza, whatever. Like it's obviously their goal to create this new product, but the goal is given, right? So it's for them to identify with that. And when we're having more distributed teams, the more empowerment and more decision-making is coming within teams. So we are having flattening organizations. We also are having, like hybrid organizations, where you have people working on site, people working outside of the office or of the country. We are having people, organizations or teams with very diverse types of people. And especially, you know, like that's when communication is kicking in. So you really have to be explicit about what you're doing, because among so many different people that you might be having on your team and that come and go and work in different teams, the common understanding of the goal is what gets internalized. So, you know, like repeating, it's always good. Maybe put, you know, like put the poster or put the screensaver. You know, what do we want to do? What our rules are, and how we are making happening whatever we are making happening. And even the different type of organizational structures are, you know, like the ecosystem. So nowadays we're going more and more towards ecosystem and not to close teams. So we are having in organizations, we have matrix organizations. So we are having, you know, like organizational structure, we have the project structures. We are having all those outside gig workers, you know, like trainers, coaches, consultants who come, you know, like from one team into another team and kind of, you know, like do the cross-pollination with ideas and with the pieces of culture. So it's very important to differentiate between these types of different team structures. And as we were talking, you know, like many teams that work together have common things, you know, like giving the voice, giving the authority, giving challenging goals. But one thing that is different for every team, and it is essential for every team, and it has to be got right, is the time together. You know, not every team needs this time together to the same extent. Look, we are having different teams, so we might be having, you know, like management teams, you know, head of finance, head of IT, head of marketing, head of operations, head of product development. And those people, they have to work together because they're working on organizational purpose, right? But they go back into their, you know, like direct report teams, and that's where they have to encourage those teams outside, right? So those management teams would be having different team dynamics than the operating team. You're having, for example, salespeople's teams. They all have the same goal. They all have very project managers teams, you know, like I was a part of a project management team, and you see your colleagues and yourself, you have the same goal, right? So you have to deliver a project, but it's different. You have to close sales, but it's your individual contribution, and everyone's doing the same. So you will be having relationship, you know, like business relationship with your colleagues, but the time together is used more for personal relationship building, for team building, but not for working. And then you're going down, you know, like you're having product development teams who really have to challenge each other ideas. You have Scrum teams who work always together and really have to have very fast, very efficient, a lot of communication just to develop this, to achieve their goals. So it's very important to get it right? Because it might frustrate team members if you force them to have time together, because they feel that they are wasting time in endless meetings. And on the other hand side, you might be having teams that need this time together because that's the essence of their work. So this is something, you know, like the right degree of togetherness and time together is something that can empower or discourage. What do you think, Mandar?
Correct. I think I would just sum it like they say in team. Team actually means TEAM. So together, everybody achieves more. So I think that's all about it. And in fact, I think we have covered most of the points, and we are coming towards the end of the session. I heard that, Chaitanya, I saw your comment, the psychological approach towards empowerment and empowering. I think Natalia has addressed it, most of it. And definitely we would, what we are planning to do is going forward, we are going to have a session, we are planning a session every month in terms of team empowerment and so on and so forth, whichever is the hot topic of the season. And it's been a very interesting conversation, Natalia. Thanks a lot for giving us all those good insights with your experience and with Gravy Team's experience in the region and of course the global presence. Before we close, definitely we would like to see if there are any more questions. And I just would like to inform you guys that Natalia and myself, we have collaborated. So it's Gravy Teams and Ajinkya FZD, we have collaborated, and we would be shortly conducting joint team empowerment workshops. We'll be, in probably a week's time or so, we will have a poster on the LinkedIn. So if any of the companies would be interested in having team building exercises, trying to understand more about team empowerment, definitely we would be available as as consultants, and we would be helping guide them in their journey of team empowerment. And yeah, that's about from my side. I'm glad to be a part of this continual improvement, I would say, journey of business excellence. And Natalia, it's always been a pleasure to be associated with you on your talks. They're very interesting. If there are any further questions, please do put us on the chat box, and definitely we'll come back to you. We will be shortly posting this live video on our on Natalia's page. Of course, I'll be sharing it on my page as well. So that's as they say, learning never stops. So we continue on our learning journey of excellence, and we would like you to join us. And because learning is always a two-way process. It's not that we are mentors, we are coaches, so that's the end of it. So we always like to share and share our experiences, and which is what will help us in our journey. That's from my side. Thank you,
Thank you, Mandar, so much, and thank you, Chaitanya. To pronounce your name right, I hope.
Yeah, Chaitanya.
For a great question, and yes, obviously, as I was saying, this is all in our psychology. You know, empowerment is we have the power. We already have the power. So it's about the creating this space that we want to exert this power in a positive way, in a constructive way, in a way to contribute to the achievements. This is a lot about feeling psychologically safe, welcome, appreciated, not criticized, but given feedback, right? And not being afraid of feedback, and taking feedback as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to step to the next level, an opportunity to create together something good, you know, like taking your mistakes, learning opportunities, something that, you know, like that you can make better as a stepping stones toward excellence, but in a group. So I personally, you know, I'm really passionate about teamwork, just because I think that things that we are doing today, nowadays, are so complex and so interwoven and so interesting, and that they can do really well in a team. So you can never achieve anything on your own, because there's always a team. And this is why teamwork is so important. There was something else I wanted to say. Forgot, probably was not that important.
I would add to it, teamwork makes the dream work, I would say.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want to say. You know, like teamwork can be, if the team is not cohesive, you know, if the team is kind of like forced together and it does not really work, you have the feeling that alone I can achieve a lot more because I go, you know, like, and there's this famous saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. I think that empowered teams, cohesive teams, they go even faster than individuals, because they carry each other, or they contribute to each other with skills, with knowledge, with ideas to proceed even faster. So thank you very much for joining us.
There were some names: Saida Sadia Fatim Ali, Bilal Ahmed Bhatt, Anjum Shah, Shahzad, and Chaitanya Lekha Raju. Thanks a lot for giving your suggestions. Really appreciate. And as we said, please feel free to get in touch with us on our pages or this chat also. This will continue. Thanks a lot for being, physically present here. Logically present.
And we're looking forward to having you with us next time. Bye-bye.
Sure. Bye. Take care. See you guys. Be safe. Be healthy.